One of the things that I think is very interesting is what's going to be happening with the Bush administration. One of the things that I thought was very interesting was a lot of the supporters of Barack Obama want to see President Bush and his administration prosecuted, they think, for war crimes. And I want to kind of talk about that and kind of get a feel of what you think, because we have so many things going on. You know, we have the FISA court issue, the wireless warrants, the waterboarding, what is that, Guantanamo Bay?
Yes.
I mean, all these different things going on. Do you think, first of all, does it make sense for him to go after President Bush or not?
I don't think it's a good idea at this particular point. Now, should he perhaps appoint some type of an investigative team to look into some of those issues at some point, I think that would be fine. But we do have some very pressing issues in regards to our economy that we need to look at. But there are some glaring things that have occurred, and I know there have been lots of charges sort of swarming around in regards to Guantanamo Bay, which President Obama has indicated he's going to probably, close down immediately upon becoming president.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people, especially on the war protesters, are very, very unhappy with Obama. They're trying to say that he's going back on his promises. But I think this is about an issue of prioritizing what is the most important thing, what's the most important thing for the country, excuse me.
Yes.
So, and one of the things that I thought, like, Cindy Sheehan, she was one of the people that's been out there talking a lot. And I was like, well, okay, is it about this country surviving, or it's about the Constitution surviving? It doesn't matter if the Constitution survives, if the country goes into depression and everybody is, can't do anything to take care of themselves. So I think it's common sense in this situation.
Well, I think it has to be a combination of both. We have to, of course, our Constitution is the governing document for this nation, and we have to stand by it. And I know Bush, even this past week, or I think early this part of this week, made some statements about he would do the same things over again today. And so I think there it's a mindset, of course, that his regime or his cabinet had in regards to going after terrorists. And I think they had they really went after it with we're going to do it by any means necessary. And I think there are some gray areas that they probably stepped into, but we do have to have rule of law and rules that have to be followed regardless of who you are in this nation. But we also have to look at where we are in regards to our economy and some of those very bread and butter issues that most Americans are facing right now.
So the question really is, and this is what the Republicans are saying, are you safer than you were after 9/11? Are you safer? Has what President Bush done, regardless if it was illegal or not, has it made your life more, made it more calmer, more safer? And that's the question that a lot of Republicans want answered.
I'm not sure how I would answer that. I don't necessarily think it's safer. I think we've put some things in place. Are we experiencing some of the issues that some other nations have experienced?
Right.
No, but I do think that after 9/11. This country has had a greater emphasis on our security, and I think that's well taken. However, do I think we're safer than we were? Probably not. I think we've added some things. I think we need to tighten our security, airports, and also the number of people coming into this country from some of those areas who are known for terrorist activity. I think we need to monitor that a little closer.
Now, then here's come the left, right? Now, the left is saying, well, no, we're not safer. And you know why? Because all of the negative things we've done in the world in terms of breaking human rights laws and torturing people and stuff has created terrorists. And one of the examples they want to talk about was a young man from Pakistan that they had arrested when he was 14 years old. And he just got released, I think, today.
Correct.
He was in jail for 7 years when he's 14 years old. Do you think he's going to want to be a friend to America?
I don't think so. Exactly. However, I think we have to look at, there were some abuses of that system in place. I think,
Abu Ghraib?
Yeah. I think there's some, some serious offenses. However, I do think we have to protect this nation. I think 9/11 has shown us that we do have to protect our nation. The issue is, how do we do it within the confines of the law? Guantanamo Bay, it's probably one of those egregious areas that we sort of overstepped our boundaries, and I think the Republican Party under George Bush sort of took that and ran with it. And I think that's one of those flagrant abuses that we see.
And one of the things that I think is very interesting, when you finally go back to the intelligence agencies like the CIA and the FBI and the NSA, and they talk to some people off the record and they ask them a question in terms of the intelligence that they gathered, they said a lot of the intelligence that they gathered through torturing people wasn't even real intelligence. People just told people what they want to hear so they could stop torturing them, which is common sense. If you're caused to be pain and harm, I'm going to tell you what you want to hear. You know, and so did it really work to make us more safe? And the answer to that question based on the intelligence arena, no, it did not. Right. Waterboarding did not work. Right. And what it did was the moral ground that we had within the world community has been lessened. And so therefore it's hard for us to tell South Korea, it's hard for us to tell, you know, Ahmadinejad that, hey, over there in Iran, that you shouldn't be doing this to your own people when, hey, we'll do it to them if we think it's in our best interest. And that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. And I think that's sort of, you know, what the bottom line is. The United States is a world leader and a world power. And so we are in a very difficult situation. And I think what's going to have to happen, I think President-elect Obama needs to have some tighter regulations in regards to how to handle these types of issues. I think under Cheney and the Bush administration, they completely just disobeyed the law. And they used 9/11 as a means to sort of just run with it. I think we went to war because of that. And I think, you know, the key issue now is how are we going to keep our nation safe?